point does fighting for a relationship become settling for less than what you deserve?
Husband or boyfriend?
Husband, I'm married. I'm in a long distance relationship.
How long is the distance?
He's in Nigeria.
Vegas. I love Vegas. Y'all just keep giving me. It just keep going.
We married in 2022.
Okay. Now, if you feel like talking about it,
Yes. Wait,
okay, go ahead.
I'm 54, he's 36.
Okay. You guys very hard question.
Okay.
You ain't sent him no money, have you? You ain't sent him no money, have you? You haven't sent him no money, right? We haven't sent no money.
I send money every month.
No. Come on, Grim.
Hey guys, hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So this story was so juicy, I came across it and I was like, I cannot wait to talk about it, guys. Like, ooh. Okay, so there's a show called Tonight's Discussion. I'll try to leave the link down below so you guys can check it out. In the show, you come up with a question and they try to figure out, there's different people from different backgrounds and they try to help you out. So the lady comes on there and she says that she has been in a pretty much a long-term marriage. And she is asking, like, when is the time to pretty much realize that you're settling for less and to kind of pretty much to let go, right? And the audience was on this one. Okay, so she says that, and then she tells them that she's been married to this Nigerian man who's like 36, she's 54, and in a way, you can see that she's definitely realizing that she made a mistake and maybe this is not what she wants after all. If you see in the video, she is actually sitting, I think she was on a wheelchair because she mentioned that she had some kind of an injury or something like that. And so before she could even finish the question, the audience one person started waving a red flag, like red flag. Because the minute they said Nigeria was red flag this, red flag that. And the audience just turned into like a Maury show. They were like, you were not the father. Then the camera guy's running because they're like, and then the host goes, did you send him some money? And everybody is like all over the place. They're like, did you send him some money? And she's like, yeah, I send him like about $400 a month or something like that. And I'm like, oh Lord. So they started telling her that this is not love, this is desperation. And she was really ready to hear all of it. Like, no matter how bad it was, she's like, just give it to me. You guys give it to me straight. And so they're like, this is desperation. And she was like, one of the ladies asked, like, do you believe in the word? Like, pretty much, are you, like, you know, into God and stuff like that? And she starts reading a Bible verse. And before she could even finish that, the lady's like, oh no, I'm all about a marriage and God being in marriages and all that. But this one, no, it's a no for me. And then the next person pretty much tells them, you know, you mentioned that you have injuries and all that. And if it gets worse, who's going to take care of you? And she goes, you know, her kids. So the whole thing, when I'm looking at the lady, she definitely has issues that she's dealing with. And I'm not laughing about that because she's definitely going through it mentally. What I've noticed is over the years that I've watched these shows where some of these Nigerian men are scamming women, usually they're older women. And one of the things that I've noticed is a lot of loneliness and people that are dealing with some things in their lives. We had another story where, you know, there was a white older lady that gave this young Nigerian guy herpes, and he was all over the social media as well. And it turned out that that she also already had stuff that she was dealing with. You know, in America, she said she was not doing well. She was working like minimum wage and all that stuff. So I've always noticed that there's always something going on with one of the person or the other. And this is what leads to this. So typically, if you're willing to settle, because she's asking the questions about settling and when it's time to let go, and you could see that she's answering her own question because she's obviously settled. And she's settling for somebody who's not even physically available. She's traveled to Nigeria about 4 times. This guy's not come to the U.S. And she's like, we're trying to figure it all out. Usually those things take forever to you know, immigration takes forever. So at some point, this guy's probably not even going to show up. But he's definitely receiving that money and living his best life. And so for me, it's sad because I know we all get older in the US or in certain parts of the world. When you get older, you start feeling kind of invisible and people don't see you anymore. And if you have health issues or you have mental health things going on, it's really hard. And sometimes you can really feel lonely. I knew a relative way back that was almost scammed who was doing well for herself, and she almost got scammed because she also had a work injury that forced her to be home for about a couple of years. So typically when you're home and you just feel different mentally and emotionally and physically, this is when this type of stuff hit. And a lot of these scammers really bank on that. They typically know the widowed women, people that are lonely, people that maybe have the kids that have left and now they're just like, kind of like, I don't know what to do with my life. And this is why I always say, really try to tap into your hobbies. Even when you're a mom, you're a wife and all that, have things that are going on for you. Please try to take care of your health. Accidents happen, health issues can happen, but really try to work on yourself so that you're not left in a place where you feel desperate and you feel lonely and you feel like you're gonna just take whatever comes. One of the stories was a lady that this guy went into her account and took a large sum of money, and the guy was like early on love bombing her and sending her flowers and having things delivered to her door. And she was like, oh, this is so sweet. Like, he's sending me flowers to my door. And he even said, I love you, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what does I love you have to do with anything? Those are just words. Love has to be matched with action. So what I've noticed is this pattern of a lot of these older women, they go to these other countries, for example, and it's like they get this love bombing that makes them believe that this person is really into them, but really this person is faking it because they need the financial benefits of it. So it was funny when it started because they were like, oh, here we go. This is not, oh gosh, not Nigeria, because everybody knows this story. The amount of times that we've seen it on the news of people being scammed, you would think that people would know better. But typically also these scammers are very good because they've figured out there's a certain demographic that's so easy to do this to. So typically if they're 54, they're 60s and over and things like that, they know they're likely, empty nesters, they're likely retired, they're likely, or they mention like, oh, I have, health issues, for example, I'm not as mobile as I used to be and all that. They pretend to care and they pretend to really be into the woman. And really, at the end of the day, they just want what they have to offer, especially those social security benefits and all of that. You guys have seen another story. There's this guy, I think his name is like Prince. He's like waving around with this older black lady. And the lady literally stands there just like this, as he's doing his dances and all that stuff and parading like, this is my wife, this is our wife. There's people saying on a lot of the social media stuff that he posts. And I just look at the woman like, you girl, you don't even there's something just not right about the whole thing to me. Something doesn't quite sit right with me. But this has been a story that we've seen all over and over. And it's usually, or, it's the other way where it's an older man who maybe is lonely, who has lost his wife, who has health issues, that some young woman in another country is like, oh, we're married and, just send me this, send me that. And it just becomes this financial transaction. And it is really unfortunate. But at the end of the day, they set her straight. They were just like, you shouldn't be thinking that when something happens to you, you're going to rely on your kid. You should be thinking, oh, you have a husband. But if the husband is somewhere in Nigeria, the chances of him coming here to help you is that. So they told her that you are pretty much in a relationship that is, he's emotionally unavailable. That's what you're dealing with here. And it's kind of like you're settling for that because maybe you feel that you don't deserve, she feels like she doesn't deserve any more than that. And I feel like she's at a low place, and it was just really sad, really, at the end of the day, because she was just like, give it to me straight. I want to hear it.